Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6 as Persia. Where we left off, I think things were going pretty well. We were working our way down towards Alexander's capital city, and I think he has another city off in the fog of war somewhere. A bit of a rough start, as we talked about in the previous episode, but I think we're going to go ahead and keep going. Right, so we have a lot of horsemen coming up here to cause us some issues. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have this guy stand his ground, and this is an interesting little thing that you can do that I don't think a whole lot of people know about. Sometimes people will make the mistake of they have a unit like this and they'll just take the promotion, but what you actually want to do is you want to fortify the unit first, then cancel the fortification, and then take the promotion. And what this does is it actually allows your unit to keep the fortification bonus as well as get the promotion. So it's kind of a neat little trick that can just, it's probably not going to change the outcome of your games, but it might save your unit from death every now and again. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can take out this full horseman because I need him to go away. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't take out this spearman because he's a bit of a problem. I'll take him out. The scout, come on little scout. All right, scout, nice work. And we've got so much going on in terms of enemy units that I'm a little bit surprised that we've made it this far. But yeah, shouldn't be too much trouble now. He has basically no army. He probably has like a couple of warriors and an archer hanging around somewhere. He might have an archer packed in the city, for example, but it shouldn't be too hard now to break him. We're also about to get our first monument, which is fantastic considering we have basically zero infrastructure at this point in the game. Alright, so more horsemen came out of the fog of war, which is a problem. Let's go ahead and clean up this one with an archer shot, and then clean this guy up with an archer shot. Let's bring our spearman forward. Looks like, yep, he has a bunch of archers around here, so that's going to take some doing to clear that up. Let's go ahead and just play it safe. Get our archers into aggressive positions around the city to try and clean up his army, and then we can move in on the city itself. Need to be careful about taking too much damage on the approach. In terms of districts in here and infrastructure, I don't think I need any more infrastructure. I'd like to get to work on a trader in here. I think that's one thing that my empire is missing, is no trader. Unfortunately, I didn't really hit any mine resources, but that's not a big deal. If we can't hunt down this guy as well. I've got a spearman and a warrior on the task. Looks like he's heading straight for my cattle tile. Alright, nice. So we just got political philosophy. We just picked up watermills. Let's go ahead and change our government. I'm tempted to take oligarchy for the short term, just to have that little bit of extra combat strength on our melee units to be able to fight through this a little bit better. I think I'm going to plug in conscription. I'm not really building units anymore, and then I'll also plug in colonization perhaps, because I will start building settlers soon. Time to pick up military tradition, because we've been definitely missing out on that technology. And it looks like the barbarians are doing a bit of the work for us, which is always fantastic. Alright, we've got a huge horseman problem over here. I actually am kind of a little bit shocked at the scale of this barbarian problem that we're facing down here. I might have actually made a mistake here pulling out the Agog card, because we might need to produce more units to take this on. Ah, he pillaged my goddamn cattle resource. That's so unkind. Right, we're taking a little bit of a thing. I think we should be able to clean this up without too much trouble. Alright, there we go. That's that cleaned up. And we've also got this guy to deal with, causing me issues. Might be an opportunity to kill an archer here. No, not quite, but we can put a lot of pressure on him. Should still be able to get that spearman out of there. Okay, was not expecting the triple shot to my spearman. That kind of sucks. Not the end of the world. Let's kill this archer and bring this one up. Good God, the sheer number of horsemen pouring out of this barbarian encampment has left me kind of speechless at this point. My god. Yeah, see, now he's pumping out archers, so we're gonna have to swap back to unit production here in a minute. We need something a little bit more powerful than spearmen, but I don't really have access to anything a little bit more powerful than spearmen. The only thing that's close is heavy chariots. Let's back up with this guy and take incendiaries and have both these guys hanging out in a defensive posture. We do have a chariot here. I'm going to go ahead and have you just kind of back up. We're kind of just doing a little bit of scouting, trying to clean this up so we can actually get a good push going. Alright, Government Plaza is done, which gives me the promotion... Or sorry, Governor title. I could promote Victor... But that's only if I really want to produce units in the city that he's in. Right now he's in a city producing loyalty for me to keep a guy safe and in my power. So I would probably be better off picking up either Magnus or Pingala. Magnus if I plan to spam out settlers, and Pingala if I think I just need a little bit of science and culture. So I'm going to go ahead and plug Pingala into the capital. Pumping out settlers just isn't going to happen this game. We're going to have to try and survive on another means. Let's get to work on some heavy chariots. We will be trying to crack out 3 or 4 of them to try and break Pella if we can. Jesus Christ, please, for the love of God, stop the swarm. The literal swarm of units just being thrown at me right now. There's Pantanal as well. Well, that at least finished military tradition for me, which will allow me to plug out conscription into the flex slot. And then plug in maneuvers so we can build chariots faster. God. Let's take a shot with you. Back you up a tile and then take a shot with you. Let's have a little exploration going. Okay, so we've got an enemy archer right there. We've got archers all around Pella, which is something we need to deal with. There's no archer inside the city as far as I can tell, because the combat strength of the city fell. So if we can clean up all the archers outside the city, I think we're in really good shape. In the meantime, let's go ahead and pick up drama and poetry. Although construction does lead to the more important technologies, but this one is important if we do want to pivot into a culture game. Alright, so this poor little scout took a pretty hefty hit. I'm going to have to back him up. How is this warrior alive? I have absolutely no idea. But we finally cleaned up this entire massive, huge mess. And now this archer has resurfaced to cause me an issue. I honestly don't know, like... This feels very dicey in terms of a position to be in. I am going to go for shooting against districts with these two guys. I'm going to need reinforcements, even though I have a fairly large army in comparison to his. Remember, you know, he is deity, so even though his army number is roughly equal, I should be better at managing my army than him. Now, as long as he doesn't have suzerainty of Antananarivo, I think we've got this warrior trapped at this point. We've got an issue. It is this chariot chasing us down. We need to escape to the east. You need to escape this way, and you need to escape this way. So we need to just run away. We can't hold these guys off in our current position. We just need more units. Alright, so it looks like that warrior managed to escape. Not before he ran around and pillaged a couple of my tiles, which is incredibly annoying. I'd love to trade with Zanzibar, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this trade route in Tarsus so that we can maybe get a longer trade route, get more gold from it. I'm going to work on building the ancient walls purely to get a boost for engineering, which will get us closer to machinery, which will allow us to get crossbowmen, which should potentially end this war for good and for all, or once and for all, however you want to sort of take that phrase to mean. Okay, one of these archers is dead. However, if we had taken any anti-unit promotions, this archer right here would be dead. So our best move is to just delta split. I'm going to sacrifice this warrior to maybe kill this archer, because if I move this archer to here, this archer could have moved onto this wheat tile and then shot my archer and killed him, and then I would have lost both. And then we'll just retreat this guy this way and hope that this archer chariot combo won't be able to chase him down too effectively. He's probably dead. There's a very small chance that I keep him alive. Let's get the scout up here to survive. It's just one of those things when you're at war with the AI, it can feel like you have a really good chance of winning, and then they kind of just pull a Hail Mary gotcha moment like that. And like this whole sequence of events here has just made my life very, very difficult with regards to killing the AI. I'm starting to stabilize now, and we're starting to produce more units. I shouldn't have let up on the unit production. I thought, okay, at this point we're good, and it turns out I was wrong. But with chariots, I'm pretty confident that we can take them out. Now we are going to be trading with Zanzibar, which will give me another envoy with them, as well as +6 gold per turn. Okay, so I popped up onto this hill to see if maybe there's an enemy about, and there is. As much as I like this shot, the unfortunate thing is you would take 2 shots in return, which is not ideal. So let's go ahead and just get you to back up while we heal up all of these units. Poor little spearman over here is facing off against that warrior. I'm bringing my own warrior back up to hopefully take over the fight. This guy has extra movement though, so he should never actually kill himself on me. Alright, let's go ahead and take this guy out. There you go, he is dead now. This warrior is starting to heal up. We're facing off against 2 archers and a chariot. We have 3 archer shots and a blocker unit that we can use here. So I'm trying to think about what's the most efficient way that we can engage this. I think this guy doesn't want to move, otherwise he basically guarantees that he dies, whereas if he stays here, he might die, but he also guarantees that if they kill him, both of these will for sure die. And then I'm going to march down here this way and focus fire on this archer on the hill. Bring the warrior over to this position. I'm going to bring this archer out of the city because he has enough health now to engage in combat. And then we'll start moving these chariot units forward to take part in future combat. I'm thinking this formation looks pretty advantageous to me. I'm also thinking if I have a warrior in position here, I can maybe cut off their retreat. And he might also absorb a hit for me, which wouldn't be too bad. So as I hoped, he took a hit for me, which is great. Although the blocker unit of a scout came forward here just to ruin my day. So I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can save him. Scooch you this way. We'll scooch you this way. We'll scooch you this way, we'll scooch you this way. And so this whole scooching maneuver I did was specifically so that I could shoot this chariot with this unit in the back, I could shoot this archer with this unit in the back, and then shoot this scout with this archer, and retreat my warrior this direction, so that next turn, if they do come forward to attack me, I'll get a retaliatory kill. What a position for a barb camp to appear. What is going on here? Jesus Christ. Excellent, so they did come forward to kill that warrior as I had hoped. But we have ourselves set up for a retaliatory kill. Let's double shot here, and then I'm tempted to attack up the hill, which I will do, even if it does expose me to potential death. because if I position this correctly, I might be able to get a kill on this guy as well. Not quite. I was really hoping I could kill him off, but these guys do have promotions, basically. I need to clear this barb camp, like, so bad. Just so more stuff doesn't spawn, but now I think we're in a reasonable position. We've got more follow-up units coming. Okay, so he chose to promote in place, which is great for me, because that means he doesn't run and escape and gain the status of being a garrison in the city. He does have a garrison unit, damn it. The whole thing that I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to bait his garrison units out of Pella so that I can attack the city without having to deal with a garrison. So I'm really just hoping to break this. And part of the problem is now I'm kind of caught in a catch-22 situation. If I don't keep pressing for this, I'm not going to get anywhere. But if I do keep pressing for this, I'm going to find myself actually severely behind. But the only real choice I have is to continue pushing. Oh, and this is the wrong position for that city right now. That should be on this T tile. I think my best move now is to just grab myself another settler with all this gold that I have, and hopefully start expanding my empire a little bit and see if we can't make something happen with regards to, you know, just trying to build up our empire a little bit while we're out in this war, by any means possible. You know, I could build an archer in here, but that would take a very long time, and partially because why does the city have such low production? Just because it doesn't have production tiles, really. What if I told it to focus on production? Okay, so this is both a big problem and a really good opportunity. The city of Pella is building walls, which means it isn't building archers anymore. But that also means that it's soon going to have walls, which means that the city is going to be much harder to take. So I'm going to have to start pushing very aggressively. In fact, much more aggressively than I was hoping to be. I was hoping to sort of build up to this a little bit more slowly. But yeah, they're getting to start to build walls, which means I'm probably going to need to get myself a battering ram in Tarsus. But I might just purchase one in Agai once the time comes, because they're not that expensive if you come down. I think they're about 260 gold. But I need to get this city under siege and start doing some damage to it before those walls get up. So now this is kind of forcing my hand to be a little bit more aggressive, which is really what I don't want to be, because I'm going to start losing units if I'm being aggressive. Go ahead and back up to heal. Let's take a moment to heal. Let's go there. See if we can't hunt these guys down and cut them off as much as we can. Maybe I could get Arabia to join this war. Okay, so I got Arabia in on this war. The most important thing that just get rid of Alexander at this point. That's the only thing that matters to me. And then we just start mass producing settlers. So I'm pretty sure with the inclusion of Arabia in this war that I have a really good chance to get rid of this. I'm going to start throwing my units at it pretty recklessly. Unfortunately, there are no farms here for this poor chariot to pillage, but we can get a couple of kills. I'm going to go ahead and pillage this campus because I need the science more than I need the district once I take the city. I need the science right now to hopefully get the crossbowmen and actually start making a difference here. Big problem is I just do not have enough units to chew up and eat all this damage that he's flinging out of this city. It's only a single archer, but still. Alright, finally we're going to go ahead and settle this city up here. We got ourselves access to another copy of tea. Let's go ahead and send a delegation to Saladin and see if we can get a friendship with him. Alright, we got a friendship with Saladin, which makes my life a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and sell him some tea. He only gave me 29 gold, which is kind of not really enough. So I'll just leave that the way it is. We are going to be folding up against a golden age here, which is very helpful. I don't know how much value I'm going to get from it, but it might be what I need to get back into this game. This city is coastal and it doesn't really have a whole lot going for it, so I'm just going to rush a granary in there, and I quote-unquote rush a granary. Actually, you know what might be better in my capital city? is to just spam out builders compared to just building settlers. I might just build settlers in my peripheral cities and then pump out builders in here to improve the quality of my empire. So I'll use these cities to improve the size of my empire, and then I'll use my capital city to improve the quality of my empire. This is a bit of a no-win situation. I can't get to and kill this archer. I can't get to and kill this. And the other huge problem I have is there's a feckin' barbarian spearman sitting in the fog of war, hitting every single one of my chariots as I come up to reinforce, making my life just hell. So I think I just have to actually do a full retreat here, which I really don't want to do. I really don't want to do a full retreat here. It's like the last thing I want to do. I want to get this done. I want to finish it. But reality is just, you know, going against these archers with the deity AI combat bonuses, they're just tearing me to shreds. Even with a consistent stream of chariots coming in to try to absorb hits and maybe do some damage, the spearmen over here just completely crippled my reinforcements because they all arrive in this sort of health, and this sort of health puts them in the danger zone. I can't play aggressively when they've got this kind of health, and I can't sit around and heal either, so I've just been put into this like really difficult position, man. Alright, this spearman finally gets itself a promotion to be able to maybe fight this guy a bit better. It's the thrust promotion. This is the spearman I'm talking about right there. He's just been making my life a nightmare that entire time I've been trying to reinforce with these chariots. So let's go ahead and just back up and form a nice tight ball of archers. And see if we can't maybe get a bit of healing done and then come back to fight another day. There is iron down here. God, I wish I could have access to that iron. I really need to take a couple of these cities though, because otherwise I'm just never going to have enough land to catch up here. So finally, this spearman has enough combat strength to actually take the fight to this guy. And then he just takes a promotion. Nice one. Look at this spearman. He has ruined me. Completely ruined me, dude. The good news is we do have a golden age now. And in terms of dedication, I'm not sure which one will suit me pretty well. I don't really have a whole lot of districts built. Monumentality wouldn't be terrible. Are all the religions gone? You know what? All the religions aren't gone. And how many religions are in this game? It looks like there's 5 religions. And how many great prophets have gone? So we've got 1. Arabia already took 1. So we don't have to worry about them taking the last one. Looks like the Dutch took 1. And then Confucius was founded. So only 3 great prophets are taken. So that's 1, 2, 3. These 3 have already taken their religion. And then there's only 1 other person who has any great prophet points at all. So do you know what we're going to do? We're actually going to take Exodus of the Evangelist here, because this gives you +4 great prophet points per turn. Normally I would leave that one out. And then the other choices are going to be fairly easy as well. I don't have a whole lot of faith generation, so I don't think monumentality makes a whole lot of sense in this era, but definitely pen, brush, and voice and free inquiry. So really, I was trying to make a decision about whether or not it would be worth it to take Exodus the Evangelist at all. Now, monumentality would be really nice for the extra movement alone, as well as the ability to purchase builders cheaper. Would that be better than pen, brush, and voice? Actually, it's free inquiry that I should cut, because this only gives a little bit of technology cost, which is great, but I don't have any commercial hub and harbor districts, so this isn't really going to benefit me. So I will pick up monumentality for the extra movement speed on my builders, as well as making builders cheaper to purchase, which means I can start increasing the quality of the entirety of my empire, which will in turn sort of snowball me into being better. So it's around about turn 90, and we're finally starting to get some sort of infrastructure production going. Okay, so we're making an approach on Pella. Again, just a kind of exploratory expedition at this point. Let's go ahead and pillage that trade route. Now he has not chariots, sorry, he has catapults at the moment. And catapults aren't very well known for being good against units, so I shouldn't have too much trouble in the next few turns, maybe being a bit more aggressive against him. I think part of the reason that the AI builds chariots, or not, I keep calling catapults chariots. Part of the reason that the AI, I think, now this is speculative on my part, is the AI thinks that catapults are a stronger ranged unit compared to archers, but they don't really have the AI ability to use catapults against units. They tend to seek out looking for city targets. And they typically avoid using catapults to hit units. I'm going to go ahead and target myself with these things and just, see what, anything good can come from it. I don't really have enough diplomatic favor to really swing it. I guess I could put 2 votes in each, and then that would only cost me 20 diplo favor, and maybe I'll get good outcomes, who knows. No, actually, you know what? I got both of the outcomes that I wanted, because I'm currently trading with a trade city-state, and I got a policy passed that targets me as well. So I'm just going to back up again for a turn or two while we wait, just to get a little bit more health on these archers so I can push more aggressively in the next few turns. So as much as I would like to send this guy off to start developing other cities, I think it is important that we get Pasargadae more developed. We do have sailing, so I think we'll also be improving this turtles over here at long last. I think another farm right here makes a lot of sense. Then we have a nice farm triangle, and it'll also give us more farms towards the feudalism boost. We need 6 farms in total to get that boost, so that's going to be a little bit of work. If you throw down another fishing boat and another farm, that will actually give this city a little bit more room to grow, which is exactly what we want. Up to 6 population. This city is off freshwater. We also actually, if I remember correctly, didn't we want to place an aqueduct in here? And we did. So we'll place that aqueduct. We'll make sure we delete this. Let's get that aqueduct at least placed. And the reason why we place an aqueduct down like this, even if we're not planning to build it, is because it will lock the price in at a fairly low value. And similarly over here in Susa, as long as the tile that we're covering up isn't super high value, like a mine or something that the city is really, really in need of using, I don't mind just using that tile up and sort of erasing its value by placing an aqueduct on it. And similarly again over here in Tarsus, a lot of my gameplay lately has been spamming out aqueducts, because I just find it very satisfying to play this way. And I'm having a bit of a discussion with myself exactly where I want to put this aqueduct. This is a very aggressive forward settle from the Netherlands, which I'm not super stoked about. Alright, so Pella is now under siege by Arabia, so it's time to start moving extremely aggressively with extreme prejudice. Get as many of our melee units in range of the city to get hits on it, to take it before Arabia does. That's really, 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 really important. I am going to park this guy over here to get him turned into a crossbowman. I'm tempted to go to war with the Netherlands to take this city of Tilburg and raise it so that I can place 2 high-value cities instead of having this like really garbage city taking up all this nice territory. I think there's an argument to be made of just like spamming out as many farms as I can, partially because I need the boost for feudalism, and partially just because the bigger this city is, the more value I will get from having Pingala parked there.
A knowledge of astrology, invincibility.
Alright, this is exactly what I was hoping for. The Arabian catapults have done their damage, which means we can now start moving forward, do a little bit of extra damage, and actually just finish off the job and take the city for ourselves, netting ourselves a bunch of era score for killing Macedon and taking their stuff, and leaving us now with plenty of room for expansion, which we're immediately going to start building settlers in Pella and focus it on production and growth. I'll need a builder down here. Let's go ahead and get some of these guys healed up. I'm tempted to get myself a skirmisher. This poor little scout I've been keeping alive for a while. You know what? He deserves to be upgraded, but probably not before I get at least 1 crossbowman to move on Tilburg. I have a friendship with Arabia that I should be able to convert into an alliance at civil service before the friendship runs out. Yeah, I've got 21 turns before the friendship runs out, and I only need 18 turns to get to civil service. And it's not feudalism. Ideally, I would be getting feudalism right now, but I'm going to push for alliance with Arabia so that I can secure my borders while attacking the Netherlands. I'm going to be taking out Tilburg. I'll bring over all my chariots. I shouldn't need much more than like this. These few chariots and maybe a crossbowman. So I'm just going to take a moment to heal with all these guys. I shouldn't have to wait for them to come catch up. Probably a good idea to get open borders with Arabia to keep him nice and happy with me. Currently, our relationship is extremely positive, but I think it's just important to, keep it that way. All right, harvest the marsh, which will force a bit of growth in here. It didn't quite get the city to 7 population, but it did get it closer. Then I'll place a farm down here, which actually gave the city another population room, which means it's going to grow even faster to its maximum population. Oh dear, 1,000-year flood in Macedon, the capital that we took, pretty much obliterated every single tile in the city. But the good news is it fertilized a whole bunch of them as well. We'll plan this city out a little bit better in the future. In fact, it's probably a really bad idea to focus on getting a settler in here before we do repairs. The 28 turn repair on that. Let's at least repair the monument before we get the settler. Alright, crossbowman achieved. Now, the Netherlands has like a relatively large army, but I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to hold that off. And I think a lot of it is tied up in stuff like these galleys, for example. But I might be able to take Tilburg fairly easily. I don't know about Eindhoven. This one is a much harder task, but I'll be at the very least I'll be able to hold them off along here. There's also plenty of open room up here. I think it's about time, now that we're out of war, now that we're safe, let's go ahead and unlock this for 50 gold. We're not building cavalry anymore, so we'll get rid of that, and we'll finally plug in the settler production card that we've been kind of holding off and plugging in, even though we've been building settlers, which has kind of slowed us down a little bit. But I think it was necessary to not do that until we were very, very secure that this war was over, because there was a couple of times that I'd kind of pushed away from being fully invested in the war, and that kind of came back to bite me in the ass. Alright, so it's time to surprise war the Netherlands. Even though she already has a whole bunch of grievances, the bonus that we'll get from that is a whole bunch of movement on our units, which is why we want to do that, because our units are now sort of in a relatively close position. Time to promote Pengala. I will, of course, be going for Researcher first, because I need that nice science, and then we'll plug in Connoisseur. That will give me a relatively large boost to my science and production, and that's why I'm not building settlers in here and why I'm focusing on trying to grow this city taller. Mainly because the more citizens I have in here, the more science and culture I'm going to pick up, which will help me catch up. I'm not super far behind in total yield if you take a look at it now, but I am super behind in terms of total resources generated because my yields were so low for so long that I'm actually quite a bit behind technologically. If we were to compare, for example, she's researched 21 technologies, I've researched 15, and you know, that's a pretty big disparate difference, especially if you consider, sure, we are the same era, but it's not really going to account for all the differences between us. I'm going to also use this chariot to do a little bit of exploration up this way. And now that I've looked at this situation, I kind of really regret putting this here. Because if I had put this aqueduct here, I could have put the industrial zone right there. And this would have been a much higher adjacency on this tile than it would be compared to here. And then I could have also put this city's aqueduct here and then given this city a really good industrial zone there. So I kind of, by doing this, by sticking to this plan kind of blindly, I kind of actually screwed myself a little bit out of like a really good setup. It's not the end of the world, like I can still do some good stuff with regards to all this. It's just not going to be, you know, perfect or ideal or the way that I would hope it would be. Crossbowman in position around Tilburg. Let's start hammering this city before he has time to get these archers into a reinforcing position. Got the city under siege, so that's pretty damn good. It's a nice advantage of being in a surprise war. Our units move very, very quickly, which is also pretty helpful when you're trying to do some exploration. Looks like we ran into Mavemba as well, and he's all the way over here in Quango. Let's go ahead and send him a delegation. I'd like to be friendly with him. I don't need to be friends with him, but definitely friendly. Also, I think I have some things he would maybe like to buy. Pay me 16 gold for my 2 luxuries. I'm also going to see what kind of a deal he's given for Diplo favor. Only 6 gold for 10. Usually you want to try to get closer to 10 for 10. How about you, Arabia? He's actually paying the full 100 gold for 10. Now, usually you would get 300 gold, but 100 raw gold is still pretty equitable. Alright, let's go ahead and shoot this poor little archer on the hill. Now, I want to try and capture the city with this chariot, so what I'll do is I'll try and soften the city up for him, and the reason I want to capture it with him is so that I can get a promotion on him and garrison it with him. We've got a little bit of a loyalty problem. No problem, let's just move Victor over to Tilburg. So I accidentally clicked the keep city button, so I had to like reload because I made an ass of myself. I meant to have a discussion about whether or not I want to keep this city or not. So let's kind of talk about that. But first, I also noticed something else that I can get suzerainty of Antananarivo with my envoys. Let's go ahead and pick that up. That's +2 era score, as well as a nice friendship with these guys, which will give me more diplomatic favor, which I can sell to the AI. Speaking of selling diplo favor to the AI, because I reloaded the turns, I didn't have a delegation with the Congo or open borders. Nor did I actually send him these resources, which kind of sucks. But I think I'm going to sell him 50 of my Diplo favor, which should get me about 30 gold per turn, right? So if I get 20, well, actually, he is not doing that deal. So I'll take 20 of his gold and I'll give him... So I'll take 20 of his gold and I'll give him 33 Diplo favor, and that'll be good. That's 20 gold per turn. I think that's a total of 600 gold over the course of... many turns, but that's fine. Now the question is, do we raise or do we keep this city? Based on the knowledge that I gleaned from making friends with Antananarivo, that there's a whole lot of empty land up here, I think I'm going to raise the city. And I think I might also raise Eindhoven and try to keep this as like a demilitarized or de-owned zone. So I think I'm going to raise the city of Tilburg because I'd much rather have a coastal city of some kind. Although that said, having a coastal city against the Netherlands might not be a good idea because they're actually particularly good at dealing with those. But in any case, I would much rather settle on the Sugar at the very least. That's a much better city, and it's still in range to be able to put a, for example, harbour out there, but it's not necessarily vulnerable to any sort of naval attack. So yeah, I think the decision is made. We're going to raise... Oh, 169 grievances. That is not good. Yeah, she has a lot of grievances against us now. That's something we're going to have to deal with. But, you know, these are the things that you just have to deal with when you're doing any sort of aggressive game to defend your territory. And you know, I say aggression to defend, but it makes sense in the context here, right? Because I'm being aggressive to defend my defend my borders. I need to protect this sort of claim that I have to all this land around here. I need to try and push people back so that I have time to actually get my cities out and develop an empire, you know, of a reasonable size. Right, we finally have the boost for feudalism, but I am going to finish civil service first because I really need to get an alliance with Arabia to prevent him from ever going to war with me. I also, you know what, I really want to build the Huey Toakali, so I'm going to make my way in that sort of a direction. First, though, it might be a good idea to pick up a watermill and get construction, but I'm going to go ahead and pick up military tactics and then construction because I'm going to need productive tiles in Tarsus if I'm ever going to build a Huey, because this is just an incredible Huey Toakali lake if I can pull it off. Yeah, if I place the Huey here, that is, I think, 4 or 5 amenities, and then just this lake becomes an actual productive, amazing place. Okay, so the Congo denounced me even though I sent him delegations, I sent him friendships and all that sort of stuff, and it looks like it's mainly because other people hate me because I have so many grievances generated against me. That's probably hurting my relationship with Arabia as well, which is why I need to get that alliance locked in at civil service. Grabbed ourselves a granary over here in Bactry. I'm kind of tempted to take this fishing boat tile to let the city grow. Now that we have the granary, it's probably a good idea to get the monument. Now that we have the ability to grow the population we need, now we need to actually start claiming the tiles for the population to actually work. Well, it looks like we found where a lot of those barbarian units ran off to. There's also a whole bunch of strategic resources in this direction, so these are things we're going to want to try to settle, if at all possible. I don't know if I want to settle coastally, though, so close to the Netherlands, but maybe somewhere near. I might settle on this lake, which actually is Lake Vistonida. I thought that said Lake Victoria, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not a world wonder in this game. Alright, but I'd say we're turn 100, and I feel like we've stabilized. We took out one of our opponents and sort of gave ourselves a bit of breathing room. We're also getting a pretty good sort of a nice aggressive war on the Netherlands to kind of cut them down to size a little bit to make our life easier in the future. In fact, if we had a battering ram, yeah, you know what? I don't think a battering ram would do it. I think we would need to have a catapult or two. And we only have 6 turns to get a catapult. If we were to purchase it, we don't even have enough money to purchase the catapult. So I don't think a catapult's going to work here. But yeah, anyway, if we had a pre-built catapult, maybe we could have kept on pushing. But I think the plan now is to just kind of sit back for a, you know, maybe 20, 30 turns, get a few cities settled, and see if we can't build up an empire that looks a little bit more reasonable compared to this weird sort of snake thing that we've got going on. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying Let's Chill with PotatoMcWhiskey. Love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.